Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to a new edition of the Batter Up podcast, sponsored by the Dig of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. Mike, Dan with you. Dan, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Rifkin, my buddy boy, it's always good to see you.
Good to see you as well. We are missing the old ops guy today.
Hmm.
Late scratch, not feeling great. So
Yeah.
but later in the week, we are going to do a little Met conversation between the two
Hmm.
of us based on news that went down. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
But man, listen, I had a rundown set. We were going to start All Star game stuff, but
Hmm.
I got to go off topic then because the Boston Red Sox have come out of their shell and they've won 12 in a row. And by the way, at the same time, helping the Yankees because right now
Hmm.
they're beating the Rays.
Of course. Watch out for two teams in the East right now. It ain't the Yankees. It ain't the Rays. No, 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 no. One of those teams is Boston. It's unbelievable, dude. Like, you go on such an early skid that no one's ever heard of. You fire your manager. It's gotten to a point where everything is like literally rock bottom. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what it was. Was it the Yankee sweep? I mean, it's got to be something that kicked it into high gear because this team can't stop winning.
And they're doing it without the stars. Like
Mm,
Garrett Crochet is still hurt.
yeah.
Trevor Story's in and out of the lineup. Wilson Contreras, his suspension ended, but he was gone for a while.
Yeah.
And they do the little things right.
Yeah.
They're kind of what I was expecting of them earlier in the year. And here we are, 12 in a row. And it's not like they're just beating up bad
Mm,
teams. They went into Chicago, beat up the White Sox. We talked before they're beating up the Rays.
yeah.
They may have mixed in a sweep with the Mets before that, but that's a whole other conversation. But they're taking care of business, and now all of a sudden with the trade deadline
Mm.
about 2 weeks away or so, August 3rd, the Boston Red Sox have now become a team. Well, we could talk about being a seller. Well, now guess what? They're probably in buy mode
They're
because they're right there in the
the,
thick of things in the AL wildcard
the
situation.
at a game over 500, Mike, like there's just no reason why. And truthfully, Mike, and I can't believe I'm saying this, they're only 7 games out of the top of the division. Like, don't tell me that this run is all about just trying to get a wild card spot.
Mm-hmm.
No, 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 no. You're right in the mix in the division all of a sudden. So please don't call us crazy. Like they're there. They're right
Mm-hmm.
there. They've taken over the Mariners in the wild card standings. Um, the Guardians are only 2 games in front of them. Like they have caught up to the fabric of the American League to a point where they have made it into a playoff spot. Kudos.
And by the way, come playoff time, if they get a Garrett Crochet back and they
Mm.
get a
Oh
Ranger
my
Suarez
God.
back, guess what? Short series, that pitching staff,
Mm-mm.
oh boy. And we know how locked down the bullpen is with Aroldis Chapman at the back end.
Yep.
So the Red Sox just keep on rolling, as Limp Bizkit used to say.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely tremendous what this team has been able to do. Um, Like again, it's just stunning because they were so down and out, and now all of a sudden that's not the case.
No, they are up and ready to go, and it's amazing what they've done.
And I mean, again, like you said, a lot of it is manufactured with the weird analytics. It's that's their game. Like that's how the game is centered by.
Mm.
Shout out to Chad Tracy. He's
Chad
done,
Tracy's done a really good job.
you know,
Uh,
for keeping the teams in there. Composure is in there. Like they haven't let up yet.
and they've had so many injuries that they're just overcoming. It's
Yeah.
most teams would have said, okay, the injuries, too many of them to overcome, but they're overcoming it right now. And they're doing a really good job of
Yeah.
really, they do. There's not one thing they don't do well. They run the bases well, they play defense well, they run. You know, Wilyer Abreu has
Mhm.
become a stud. Maybe
What
the
is
best
that?
Abreu since Bobby.
What is that? Like 3 home runs in like 4 days or something like that? Like he's on a tear right now too.
He's on a tear offensively. Defensively, we know how good he
Hmm.
is. I
Yep.
mean, this team is just this is what well, and I expected early, but we're
Yeah.
getting it now. And
Yeah. I mean, look, I had them not making the playoffs, and I don't know, man. Like maybe I'm just scared.
yeah, well, after the Alex Cora thing, I was just like, "Wow, all right,
Yeah.
this ain't the year." Well, guess what? They've turned it up. So,
Yeah. And best believe when Contreras comes back, he's going to be hungry.
mm,
Excuse me. He's going to be hungry to get to that plate and could still contribute the way he was contributing before his suspensions. Which of course it's probably a bit of a setback for him. He's going to come back a little rusty, but when he's locked in again, he's going to be a stud too.
yeah, he's had an outstanding year. That's why he was an All Star.
Like he has done a tremendous job. Um, a full Red Sox lineup with what we know now, a full Red Sox lineup is pretty darn good.
Yeah. Well, we did get to witness Wilson Contreras earlier this week because he was in both the Home Run Derby and the All Star game, which the American League won by score 4-0.
Well, the New York Yankees won the All-Star game.
Hey! Miguel Vargas hit a home run. He's a White Sox.
Sure.
Got to give it love. But yeah, the American League wins another All Star game. They win 4-0. Cody Bellinger was your All Star game MVP.
Mhm.
But the takeaway of this All Star game was there was a lot of strikeouts,
Uh-huh.
and there was a lot of even with the guys who opted out, there was still a lot of good pitching.
We give the American League a lot of crap for being so much weaker to the National League, so much inferior to the NL. And you can book it right now. The National League, they're winning the World Series. Their overall lineup, all these teams, there's no way any of these American League teams will get it done. But the one thing I will say about the American League, there's some power pitchers in the American League.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of studs. Just like the NL, um, they have really ramped up some studs on the mound. So hats off to all the pitchers out there that we saw. Great, nice, excellent talent stuff.
And from Dylan Cease to Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
I mean, the National League, I think, had, what was it, 3 or 4 hits? That was
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
And this game was just, it was kind of boring, but you know what? We got to witness a lot of great young studs on the mound, like you said. But you know, would I like to see a Skeens or a Mizorowski out there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they chose not to play. And look, I don't like it, but that's their prerogative.
I
That
wish
have
my
Bobby Brown.
I miss my boy. I wish my boy Schittler got out there too. But I understand. Like he pitched on Sunday or what was the Saturday? Excuse me.
Yeah.
He pitched on Saturday before, and it was just not going to happen. Schlitty has um has bigger aspirations and stuff.
By the way, speaking of Schlittler, Yankee Dodger doubleheader today.
Mm,
Game one pitching matchup. Schlittler Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
yeah.
That is going. If you are not seeded for that, you don't love baseball enough.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm pumped up for it. Not pumped up for the doubleheader. It's a split doubleheader, so you have to wait hours on end after the first game. But
Oh, they're the Sunday night game too.
yeah, but um, it- yeah, no, but I'm pumped up for it. You know, this is
Yeah,
supposed to be a big series, about the power and the pitching and everything in between. Has been quite that.
yeah. First game was really good.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I, just back to the All Star game really quick. I don't know how you feel about it, so I'm going to ask you. How do you feel about the players being mic'd up and talking to the broadcasters during the game?
Yeah, it's just an element that I just if it's a game during the playoffs, I would really have an issue with it. But since it's the All-Star game, people are just trying to have fun. Like you're there representing your team and showing if you want to, obviously, showing your showcasing your ability in front of a rabid baseball fan base.
The one I had an issue with was they're talking to Schwarber when he's up at the plate. Now, Kyle Schwarber is the DH of the National League. You could have picked any time to
I
talk
know.
to. You got to wait till
Like,
he actually gets up there, swings the
what about
bat.
if he's on deck? Well, on deck, I don't think that's good too because
Yeah.
what if they get a base hit? And,
Hey, if he's in the dugout, talk to him while he's in the dugout.
yeah,
That would have been fine. But
yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm not. I've never been a fan of the broadcasters talking to the players while they're on the field. But again, during during the All-Star game, so the game doesn't really matter.
mhm.
So it is whatever. Um, I don't know. Like, here's what I'll say: the broadcasters have to do a better job if they're going to continue having these on-field interviews. They're going to have to do a better job at to find out when to actually have good on-field interviews because if done right, it's actually a great product. But talking to the manager while they're managing, talking to the fielder while they're on the field, I feel like if
Yeah.
done right, it could actually be very, very good product, but it isn't done right.
So the American League wins another All Star game, but the National League took home the home run derby titles. That
Mm,
was won by Cardinals outfielder Jordan Walker, who put on a show in that final against Kyle Schwarber.
yeah.
So
Not too bad with the Netflix coverage if you watched it.
I do
Yeah,
not have Netflix, so I
yeah,
did not watch it.
yeah. You didn't miss much. Like, um, I was, I mean, I was satisfied with it. wasn't loving the low camera angles and the constant moving of the camera. I thought that was stupid. Um, but it was okay. I mean, look, Matt Vasgersian was on the call, so like he makes
I'll
everything
take
a
Matty V on
lot
the
better.
call.
Um, it's funny. I forget who was on. I know Vasgersian was on play-by-play, but I don't know who else was with him. But they also had Barry Bonds and Albert Pujols on a side convo with some other host. And I'm like, what? Well, why aren't they in the main broadcast?
Just have them with a vast excursion. Yeah.
Like that was stupid. So,
Oh, yeah. That makes no sense whatsoever. But okay, okay.
I mean, they had good insight too, you know.
I'll say this: I don't know Barry well enough, but Albert Pools, when he's been on MLB Network,
Has
you
been
learn a lot
tremendous.
from.
Yes, especially about the hitting side that
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't really understand. He can literally go into the mind of, you know, of a lot of hitters.
yeah, and
And
he's expressed desire to manage, so we'll see if
yeah.
something happens there too.
It was L Dun. I didn't realize L Duncan was doing baseball on Netflix. No, it was L Duncan with Barry Bonds and Albert
Oh,
Pujols,
okay.
and then Hunter Pence and Anthony Rizzo were that excursion.
Okay.
Again, I barely watched the Home Run Derby. It was on Netflix. I was working. I was like, I don't got time for
Yeah.
this stuff. Like, I
I,
don't, I don't got time to just search while I'm working. You know.
Speaking of Anthony Rizzo, I don't know if you saw this yesterday during the Cubs
Mhm.
Twins game.
No, I
Anthony
did.
Rizzo, who is a man of the people, caught a
Hmm.
home run ball while being in the crowd.
He's a
Second time it's
he's a
happened.
magnet. He's a magnet out of those bleachers. Maybe he needs to go to Cubs games all the time so that the hitters, whether it's the opposing hitters or whether it's the home team, which it has been for the last couple times, so that they know they're going to get a home run because he's out there. So,
I mean, even when he played, he was a magnet too, because I think he led baseball in hit by pitches
mhm.
when he was a
Yeah,
player.
God damn.
Uh, he he was a damn good ball
It's
player.
so good to see him back in Chicago in
Oh,
that
in
Cubs
Chicago.
uniform. Oh, it's such a breath of fresh air. You know.
It's hard to think that it's been 10 years
Hmm.
since that Cubs team won the World Series.
Yeah.
I mean, that was some team.
And they haven't been back. That's another thing. They haven't been back.
No, yeah. So,
Mm. We gotta change that soon. Because
well, speaking of Wrigley Field, speaking of the All Star game, Major League Baseball might be showing off a little bit of confidence here on a new CBA because they released the 2027 schedule, which includes the All Star game, which would be played at Wrigley Field next year, which I think would be so cool if they go old school with it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, Wrigley's a good spot. It's a legendary ballpark. Um, you're talking about one of baseball's oldest, most prestigious. Obviously, it's gotten renovated over the years. Um, the Cubs have done a phenomenal job making it modern day for what MLB wants for it. So they're due for an All-Star game. Like I think it's amazing. You're in the middle of a great, passionate baseball neighborhood on the north side of Chicago. Uh, Fans deserve that. That's what fans want. They want the community involved in it. You know. Now, of course, Wrigley Field used to be more community oriented, used to have the Wrigley rooftops actually mean something before the Cubs decided to obstruct the view of so many people. Um,
Oh man, the Derby at Wrigley on
yes,
when the wind might be blowing out. Ooh,
yeah. And then the fans are waiting for the ball to come down to the to come down to the streets. I don't know if that's still a big thing, but I'm sure it is, you know.
they may have to put kids out in the street to catch some of those home runs.
Like, no, it's just it's a good baseball community.
Yeah. Uh, But by the way, I'm just gonna put this out there. We know how baseball does the Field of Dreams game too.
Yeah.
I would not mind the All Star game being played as the Field of Dreams game.
Sure.
I think that would be totally fun.
Yeah. If they want to go back to Iowa, I mean, like, I'm totally cool with that. You know, being that all-star game. And once again, you know, you're centering around a nice baseball community because that's what they're trying to build up.
And to quote the movie, if you build it,
Mhm.
they will come.
Yeah, didn't they build like a minor league facility for some
Yeah,
team?
something like that.
Or yeah. So I know they spent the last few years doing it. That's why they haven't been back. I don't know if they're ever going back, but like, you know, they should. Like,
Let me look to see if they are going. But 20, the other thing they could do is play it at one of those old school Negro League parks.
mhm.
Yeah. So August the 13th, the Field of Dreams game will take place in Dyersville, Iowa. It'll be the Twins and the Phillies. And the game will be on Netflix. Because why wouldn't it be? But I don't recall Netflix having Field of Dreams. But yeah. Um, but also we talked a little CBA. Apparently, Players Association have grown frustrated because MLB has put out YouTube videos talking about a salary cap, and players are unhappy. And but we're not going to focus on it mainly for this reason. We just want baseball next year. And in the argument of millionaires versus billionaires, it's the fans who lose out. All right.
This is what's so frustrating about it, though. It's like they don't care about people like us, you know, who
Mm-hmm.
grew up watching the game, you know, who care about the game. They don't give a shit about that. They only care about what's in their freaking pockets. Like, for once, can you come to a common ground? You know, obviously don't come to a compromise because no one wins in compromises, but can you come to at least a common ground? Something?
Yeah, we need something to come out of this.
Those 2020 into 2021, those negotiations really
Oh,
soured the relationship because
that was
baseball before that they had no big time CBA issue, at least not since the 94
'94.
strike.
But yeah, 2020 was a different time with COVID, and
Yeah.
so they had to figure other stuff out, including the cardboard cutouts in the stands, which is so weird. But you know,
That time.
uh,
God.
yeah. So we'll see what happens there. As obviously they are still negotiating the CBA. But next up, we have our first real seller on the market as we approach the trade deadline. And that would be the New York Mets. So, according to reports, the Mets are the first team to say we are willing to give up certain players. The only untouchables, according to reports, are the outfielders Carson Bench, AJ Ewing, Juan Soto, along with Nolan McLean. Anybody else basically is, hey, we'll listen. Me and the old Oscar will do more on that later in the week, but
They really serious about Frankie Lindor?
well, I don't think so. I don't think Lindor's getting moved. I okay. I am I wrote about it for the network, so I'll put it in this term. The only way I would move Lindor is if I'm getting a really good package back. And right now, trading him, you're trading pennies on the dollar. And it's just to me, I don't think Met fans understand, or there's a certain part of a Met fan that doesn't understand what Francisco Lindor has brought to this team.
Yeah.
Has this been a really tough year? 100%. But I don't think he's been healthy at all this year, Dan.
Yeah.
We're, we're talking about the hamate bone in spring training,
Yeah.
then the calf strain. And it's just like it's one of those years where he just couldn't get it to, he hasn't gotten it together.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that, it's a rough season, not by necessarily his doing, but I think his body just betrayed him a little bit this year. Um, the Mets, there's no way the Mets are serious about moving Lindor. Like, like, but then at the same time, why isn't David Stearns saying that he's untouchable? Because if I'm the Mets, there's no way I'm moving him. He's too important of a piece in your team.
Right. Well, this is just what Rivals executives are saying.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's actually asked David Stearns because, well, one with the All Star break, the Mets are on the road right now. He's not holding any real press conferences. But yeah,
It's
look,
telling that he's not an untouchable asset. That's my thing.
no, I agree with you. I look, I don't think you move off of Lindor for three reasons. One, he's been a great Met. I don't give a damn what people say. They don't go on that run in 24 without Francisco Lindor. He should have been the NL MVP, but that's a whole nother conversation. Two, who's playing shortstop if you move off of Lindor? Is Jose Reyes coming back for another run? Ray Ordonez, like what are we? There's not a person in the minor leagues close enough to play shortstop.
Yeah.
And three, if you're moving off of Francisco Lindor, are you signifying that this is actually a partial rebuild instead of a retool? Because guess what? I don't think you can rebuild if you're the Mets as long as you got Juan Soto there.
Yeah.
Now, if the Soto Lindor thing is true and they don't get along great, well, by the way, man up, both of yous. But you don't have to be best buddies. I look at the Yankees. Jeter and A-Rod were not best friends. They got the job done, but they weren't best buddies.
And still aren't today. I know they're on Fox, and I know
Yeah,
they're getting
well,
along fine. And,
let's be honest. You can't be best friends with that steroid infested
yeah.
Alex
Well,
Rodriguez.
here's the thing. I think what soured the relationship was the fact that he joined the Yankees.
Yeah,
Like,
he
because they were
wanted the
fine before.
spotlight.
They were fine before, and then they
Yeah.
both came to New York. Obviously, it was '04. A-Rod was accused of trying to take Jeter's job. Like, it was, yeah. But no, but look, you gotta let bygones be got bygones if that's the case.
Yeah.
You know, learn to coexist.
Now, again, we're not on the inside. We don't know if they actually don't like each other or if it's just like, hey, you don't have to be best
I,
buds.
I think some of it's theater. I think some of it is theater. They're in New York.
Yeah.
Um, they, that this was Lindor's team before Soto got there. So, you, so yeah, I think a lot of it is manufactured by the fact that the media is hyping up a little bit, and I think part of it is real. I think part of it is also the fact that you have Lindor who wanted to be the guy. He had the polar bear right by his side. They had something good going, and things changed when Soto got there. Not saying that Soto's responsible for their demise in the playoffs last year. I'm sorry, with lack of a playoff
Mm-hmm.
berth last year, you know, but I think some of it's true, but I also don't think it's as crazy as people are making it out to be.
But because, to your point, because it's New York,
Yeah,
it gets blown out of proportion.
yeah.
And so yeah, I would move Lindor. Again, I don't disagree with not moving the outfielders. Benj and Ewing have been awesome.
Oh my
Obviously, you're
God.
not moving Soto. And
Yeah.
look, I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't move either catcher either. I'm
Hmm.
not moving Francisco Alvarez. It's still the upside's too good. And Luis Torrens, just resigned. Why would I move him? So,
No, Torrens actually has been good.
sure.
Alvarez is an interesting one. I wonder if you can get assets for him though.
Well, here would be the question, and this would be my question to David Stearns, my question to Steve Cohen, and I
Yeah.
know they're both listening. What's the argument's sake? I'm just going to go on the presumption CBA's done. There's baseball in 27. What's the main expectation for 2027?
Yeah.
Are they contending? Are going to try to contend? Or do we think this little reset thing is going to take more than 1 year? Because if the answer is it's going to take more than a year, then maybe you do look at moving Alvarez because you're going to get futures for him.
Yeah.
Or are you looking more at, no, we want to compete in 27. We want players who can contribute to that roster.
Mm.
Then I say, you know what? Francisco Alvarez, Luis Torrens, both of them should be on the 27 roster.
The the unknown is going to be so weird these next couple weeks as we enter the trade deadline because this will really tell us what the Mets are thinking um about the actual future of the franchise. Um I think the blow up isn't necessary.
I'm with you. I think the thing that's interesting going into the deadline, and I actually don't mind the fact that the Mets are saying we're sellers here for this reason.
Mm.
You're not. We talked about how tight the
Mm.
American League is. You may be having one team that's really going to think about selling off, and that's the Angels, and God knows what they're going to do. The National League, hey, every team that's a contender, we're open for business. You want to make a deal before July 3rd? Call the Mets.
Mm.
And what do you want? You want Freddie Peralta? You want one of the relievers? Let's have that conversation. So I'm okay with the Mets saying, okay, we're open for business. Come out and show us what you got. But I think the Mets are, look, again, we'll cover this later in the week with the old ops guy, but
Yeah.
I think the Mets are in a smart position when they say, yeah, we're going to sell things off. Now, the intriguing part is, what are you selling off? That becomes the question.
Marcus Simeon.
Huh?
Marcus Simeon.
Oh, my God. I would trade a bucket of balls for Marcus Simeon at this
You
point.
know, like he's done nothing. Nothing. I don't want to
I
hear
mean,
I don't want to hear anything about hurt or nonsense.
no,
He's done nothing,
he's been awful.
you know.
And I don't know what
Uh
you do with him. I don't know if you could trade him. I don't know if maybe.
it's easier to move his contract than Bichette, I'll tell you that much. Bichette's another one that's gotta go.
Oh,
Like
Bichette's got to go.
like it that hasn't worked either.
Oh, yeah. And that, you're going to get me off on a little tangent here, but the signing of Bichette was bad for two reasons. One, you're putting him in a position he's not used to, but two, and more importantly, you kind of hurt the development of a Brett Beatty in the fact
Mm.
of now Brett Beatty's got to play second base. He's got to get some time in right field. Brett Beatty's been a really good defensive third baseman. I know the bat hasn't been there, but man, I'd rather watch him develop than, Bo Bichette, who hadn't played the position. And Bo's turned himself into a decent third baseman, but
Yeah.
he's had a rough year offensively. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the Mets again. More later the week. Me and
Mm.
the old ops guy.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing what the old ops guy has to say about it because um I know it's been bothering him too, like the unknown.
The unknown. Yeah. We had a couple of young players re-signing with teams this week. Chase Burns in the Reds, 7 years, 105 million.
There you go,
And
Cincy. That's a great extension.
mhm.
Knowing that you have a good young stud, and you ain't going nowhere.
And him and Hunter Green at the top of that
Mm,
rotation.
but phenomenal.
Oh, and by the
Phenomenal.
way, on top of that, the young players they got like Ellie De La Cruz and
Yeah,
Spencer Steve. The Reds are building. I know
yeah.
they are not having the greatest
I
year.
know that's the thing. I mean, look, the playoffs were kind of a fluke last year.
Yeah,
Let's call it like it is. Like it's a product of
the Mets collapse.
a lot of things happening wrong to the Mets. But the Reds are right where they should be in a rebuild mode, where they're trying to develop these young players and look, I think the advantage is that they're competing in the National League, which is
Yeah.
such a tough league to compete with. Like I think it's good for them because they're getting a taste of what it feels like to actually go out and try to win these games.
And they have the right manager. Terry Francona is a great teacher.
Yeah.
And so, look, they get Burns and Green at the top of the rotation. Sal Stewart's in the running for Rookie of the Year. We know how great Ellie De La Cruz is.
Yeah.
The Reds are building something really good and really nice. Something, they haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah. And
You're
look,
right about the playoffs being fluky last year, but look, the National League Central, we know this year in and year out. It's always competitive.
And look, maybe Tito isn't the guy that necessarily gets them to where they eventually have to be. But right now, he's just the perfect manager for development because he understands how the game works. And sometimes you just need someone that just knows the game. Good baseball minds for young players.
Yeah, so see what happens there. And then JJ Weatherholt got an extension with the Cardinals.
Yeah,
He's also had a sensational rookie season.
yeah,
So again, these teams are locking up young core players. So
yeah.
something the Atlanta Braves really started, and
Mm.
it's catching it's catching around the league now. All right.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of teams realize though they don't want to be losing young players while they're in the prime, while they're still developing. Like it's rough sometimes to just lose those players in free agency and get nothing out of it.
And they sign them before their prices get way out of control.
Hmm. Yep. I'm sure
That's something else to,
I'm
to
sure the
look.
Braves are counting the blessings that they haven't spent too much money.
I mean, they signed Ronald Acuna for $100 million.
That's a steal.
That's a.
Still.
Look. I know Ronald's been hurt, but yeah,
Mm.
that's it's pretty good business. Um, yeah. So we're into the second half of the baseball season now. The All Star break. Dan, what are some things you're looking into right now? Like second half wise, like what's something that intrigues you?
Well, something that has been catching my eye, well, a couple things really, but the Red Sox rise to prominence.
Mm.
It's obviously an eyesore because, I hate the Red Sox. I hate everything about that team. And yet they're still giving me nightmares despite the fact that they were way down now. So suddenly their winning streak is catching my eye, and I really think they're going to make a big time run here in the second half of the season. Another thing to keep an eye on for me, at least. I really and like I know the teams traded blowout wins in the last two nights, but like the Washington Nationals, man, I
Yeah.
want to see how they ramp up in the second half too. Because if they are what I think they are, I'm not saying playoffs, but I know they're going to give teams a lot of issues with the way their lineup is formed. So I can't wait for that. And then of course, where does Tarek Skubal go? Does he get moved? Where does he get moved? I am very intrigued by that because it could literally change the landscape of this league.
And Detroit's starting to roll. They're 8-2 in their
Yeah.
last 10.
Mm-hmm.
They're 3.5 out in the wild card, and in the division they
Yeah.
are
Which is part of the reason
five and a half.
why I think they should look if they don't want to hold that's fine. That's up to them. I think they should reconsider. Like maybe hold on a little bit. It's risky, but see what you got out of this run here.
So, so after this Angel game today, they're going to Chicago to play the Cubs,
Yeah.
and then they play the Royals and the Orioles before they got to go to Sacramento. So
Mm.
they've got a little bit of a chance here to break some ground, gain some ground.
This is another topic that I'm trying to, play around with. The teams that are on the bubble that are all of a sudden nibbling at the selling market, at the trade market. It's like, how much on the bubble do you have to be to hold?
Right? What's the number that makes you?
You know?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question because if you're a team, I mean, you brought up the Nationals. They're three out in that the wild card.
Yeah.
What do they want to do? Do they want to add arms? Do they want to subtract because they're
Mhm.
playing better than what they thought they were? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or if you're a team, the Reds, they're seven right now. What do they want to do?
Yeah.
They're on that fringe bubble.
Minnesota
If
Twins, Mike.
one game out,
You know,
and they're 7-3 in their last 10.
God, Joe Ryan kicks everyone's ass.
Yeah,
The
Joe Ryan is an interesting one.
like,
I mean, to another extent, another team you're close to, the Orioles. Like,
mhm.
I'm not even talking about a seller perspective here. What's the big move the
Are
Orioles
they
make
a
to push
buyer?
them?
Yes.
Push yourself over the top if you're the Baltimore Orioles.
Like, what's that move that's gonna
Right.
get them?
Do you want another bat? Do
That's
you
actually
want
a good
another
point.
pitcher?
Never thought of it that way too. That's actually a good point. What if the Twins aren't sellers? What if they're buyers?
Yeah, you know, the Toronto Blue Jays, who haven't gotten hot, but they're only 3.5, and they're like,
Mhm.
that's a sleeping giant in the American League.
Yeah.
If Toronto can add, I don't know if it's another bat, I don't know what they're looking for, or if is it just, hey Vladdy, you had the break, let's go.
Yeah.
Like what are the Jays playing? Like I
Mhm.
agree with you. What's that number look like for
Yeah.
these teams?
What does it look like for the Padres?
Oh, they're a
Like,
half game behind the Nats. They're 3.5. But I know this is a weird sign, but I mean the Padres have a minus 49 run differential.
yeah.
Put that in perspective for you. The Pittsburgh Pirates, who are one game out of that wild card, have a plus 48 run differential.
Yeah. What are the Padres? What are they, 19 and 32 or something in the last 50 something something
They're
games?
5-5 in their last 10. They've
Yeah.
lost the first two to the Royals. And they don't win they're 21-26 on the road. That to me is just for a team that had high expectations.
I can't believe this team's under 500. That's that's another conversation.
No, I'm with you. Like if they don't get in, or if they don't, I mean, what changes do they make in the offseason if they don't get in?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing because, and they're about to embark on a real East Coast trip. They get four with the Braves and then three with the Marlins.
Mm,
They're going to need both those series. So, tough times for the San Diego Padres.
yeah.
But speaking of that, we got other weekend series we're going to discuss here as I reload back up the rundown. Just talk a little bit. Padres Braves is the Braves are trying to hold off the Phillies. Padres were waiting for a run. Dan, you brought up the Twins. They're going to Cleveland to play the Guardians.
Guardians are a good team. Um,
But by the way, that's another one. Jose Ramirez. What does he look like when he comes back?
mm.
It's another story.
Well, it's just amazing how, you know, despite the Guardians losing that edge in the Central to Chicago, how they're able to stay afloat without J-Ram.
Yeah, they're them and the White Sox are tied right now. But they've gotten a lot of contributions. Travis Bazan has been great. Stephen Kwan still has more walks than strikeouts.
Yeah.
They find a, every year they find a way. It's
Mhm.
really weird what they do.
Yeah.
Uh, we get the Dodgers in Philadelphia to play the Phillies. That is a heavyweight fight in the National League. Uh, the Yankees are going to host the Pirates, who are again still right in the thick of things. Their bullpen stinks. By the way, something we didn't mention before. We heard a little bit on Aaron Judge earlier this week.
Mm,
Thoughts
yeah.
there?
Oh yeah, that's actually a storyline that, is a big deal. He was transferred to the 60-day IL. Um, they obviously, and this was expected, the rib hasn't healed, still needs more time. He needs another image to see when he can resume baseball activities. I am a-okay with just flat out saying it. We ain't seeing him the rest of the regular season at the very least. And if you're a Yankee fan, that should terrify you because you need his bat in the lineup. And I've been saying this for a long time. Can they get by with the Ben Rice and a Cody Bellinger? Of course they can. But in order for the Yankees to actually be contenders, they need Aaron Judge in the lineup. And he's not in the lineup. So I would say if you're a Yankee fan, stay frustrated. You're going to be frustrated the rest of the season with this team.
And if you're Brian Cashman, and I know you give him a lot of grief. I know a lot of people give Brian Cashman grief.
Yeah, I less grief than recent years. He's back on the good graces.
Okay.
It's whatever, you know.
But the point is this: if we're not going to see Aaron Judge, to your point, in the rest of the regular season, who knows when we see Giancarlo Stanton again? Too.
Yeah.
The Yankees need to go at a right-handed
Hmm.
bat, and they need to do it now.
Yeah. And look, if it costs you a Spencer Jones or whoever, so
Yeah.
be it. Like,
You you haven't won since '09. You have to make that big play now.
and look, it could be a rental because Aaron Judge is coming back.
Right? It doesn't even have to be an outfielder. If you want to
Hmm.
be, I'm just going to use this as my example. You want to go get Willie Adames from the Giants. I know there's a lot of term left, but hey, there's a guy who can add some thump to the lineup. So we'll see what happens there. So Yankees, Pirates, the Rays. Actually, two big American League East battles: Rays, Blue Jays in Toronto, Orioles, Red Sox up at Fenway.
I'm intrigued by the Baltimore Red Sox
Both teams are
because
playing really well.
the O's right now was it like 7 in a row that they've won. Um,
Double check.
by the way, they went to extras in Houston, so that was a good win for them. Um,
Houston's another team that's just right there too in the
mhm,
American League.
yeah. Um, but no, like I think that's an intriguing one because the Orioles right now are in a they're
Six in
not
a row.
6 in a row. Sorry.
Seven
So
and three in their last 10.
they're in three last 10. So, they're in a good spot there. So if they can continue their winning ways, they catch the Red Sox maybe not necessarily at a bad time, but at the right time, where everything's on the high and they're kind of due for a loss. Well, that's your week to do it. So my hope is that the Orioles stay hot so that they can get something of a good weekend series there. Like,
Yeah, so we talked earlier about how well the Red Sox played, but
yeah,
Orioles Red Sox are massive series there.
yeah,
Uh, we brought up the Braves and the Padres before. I mean,
yeah.
Every series for the San Diego Padres matters.
Mhm. Like even if it's 2 out of 3 or whatever, how long the
Yeah,
series is.
you need to figure this thing out
You
because
can't afford to lose too many games. You can't afford it.
I don't think there's a team under more pressure in the second half than the Padres because they're going to have to pick a direction of what they want to do. And if they don't make the playoffs, man, there's going to be changes this offseason.
Yeah.
Uh, you got Tigers and the Cubs. And then in the Griffey Bowl, Ken Griffey Jr. Bowl,
Mhm.
Reds Mariners.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. Shohei is not gonna be on the mound anytime soon, so don't expect it for Dodgers at Phillies. That's due to his knee. Apparently, his knee is still a problem. Um, that they're afraid to put him on the mound right now, the Dodgers.
So let's just say what it is. They are saving him for October.
Yeah, yeah, which is the right move. Like right now, you don't need him to pitch. You need him to be a big time power hitter, run producer, and the pitching will come.
They're deep enough at the rotation. Also, they have such a big lead in the NL West. Doesn't matter right now. That they can just do what they want to do with him. Does it tick some of us off that, hey, he should play in the All Star game?
Yep.
Yes. But you know what? It is what it is. The Dodgers have bigger aspirations, as you talked about before. One more thing before we sign off. I don't know if you saw this, but for people on the Twitterverse, Ben Verlander of Fox Sports, also the brother of Justin Verlander, during the home run derby, went to a girl in a Ryan Howard jersey
Yep.
and asked her if she wanted Ryan Howard to sign the jersey. He took the jersey. He got Ryan Howard to sign it. Ryan Howard thanks her for being a fan, and he returns the jersey in the span of about 5 minutes.
Right.
Those are the great moments of
That's what I'm
sports
talking about.
that we need to talk more about. So
Yes.
shout out to you, Ben Verlander.
Well, Ben Verlander, he's the man of the people. Like he's a
He
real,
is.
true baseball
He's
fan
a
like us. So he gets it. You know, someone who's a former player, obviously didn't have the career Justin had, but you know,
not
still,
many have had the career of Justin
you know,
Verlander.
but no, like he's a true baseball fan,
Yeah.
and you know has such good rapport with the players that he can be able to connect the fans like to them. So it's nice marketing move for him and for the game really.
Oh, he's awesome for the game. Check out his podcast, the Flippin' Bats podcast, too.
Yep.
So I did want to get that out there because I saw it, thought it was awesome. Those are the moments in sports that we love. That's an appreciation for the fans.
Yeah.
Like we appreciate our fans. And we thank you for listening to this episode of the Batter Up Podcast, sponsored by the Dugout Millwood here on the network. We are live every Sunday, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
We're going to try to work in one more during the week. Time TBD.
Hmm.
But like, comment, subscribe here to the YouTube. Ring the bell for notifications. Dan will be live tomorrow with SIP with Mr. Murphy.
Yep.
Myself and the old off scale will be live later in the week talking Mets. Listen, we love the support.
Hmm.
Continue the support. Go to the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Great blogs, vlogs, plays, trades, and automobiles. Follow the socials. Twitter, S Insanity Real, Facebook, the Sports Insanity Network. Dan, I'm Mike. We'll talk to you all next week here. Batter Up Podcast, sponsored by the Toyota Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network.
We appreciate you, love you, and thank you. Mike will be back, like I said. We all said he'll be back, more baseball coverage, especially on the Metsies. Like
Oh,
that's gonna be a tough conversation. Like
that is going to be must listen conversation.
so you're a Met fan out there, like that's your pod. Peace and love, everybody.